Welcome into the show, everybody. Mark Farzy with you here on the Farzy Show. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Friday at the time that you listen to this on a football Friday, a Christmas Eve Friday, and I have done it. I've done it. I didn't think I was going to do it, but I've done it. I was pretty sure I was going to do it. I've talked myself into the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game against the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday, Christmas Eve, 4:25 kickoff in Dallas. And yes, Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback. Yesterday, Nick Sirianni made the announcement. We'll hear from him a little bit later in the show. We'll hear from Gardner Minshew himself and a random member of the media that just decided to ask a question as well about the mustache for Gardner Minshew. But here's where I'm at. I'm just going to jump right into it with you guys. Going into this week, we learned about Jalen Hurts' injury. And obviously, I thought this game with the Cowboys and the Eagles on Christmas Eve was going to be a close game with Jalen Hurts playing. So if that was my feeling going into the week, this is going to be a close game, division rivals. You're still going to have your MVP quarterback in Jalen Hurts. It's going to be a close game, but the Eagles are going to win this game in Dallas. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be close. But the Eagles are still going to win. If I just believed that it was going to be a close game and the Eagles were going to win with Jalen, then how is it even possible to think that this Eagles team is going to still win with Gardner Minshew as their quarterback against the Dallas Cowboys, who have been on the Eagles' heels all season long, who battled and fought in that game that they had Cooper Rush start in Philadelphia? The Eagles still won handily in the time they were scoring all their points in the second quarter, but, it is what it is. But why would I think that? And I'll tell you why. And the number is 17. 17 Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl alternates at a possible 22 positions, just between offense and defense, not counting, special teams. 22 players play offense and defense, all right? 11-11, all right? 17 of those guys are Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl alternates. This is a stacked Philadelphia Eagles football team. Are they good enough to overcome the loss of an MVP quarterback? That doesn't exactly hit the ear and go, oh, they are definitely better. They're definitely good enough and stacked enough to overcome the loss of an MVP quarterback. But here's the thing. This team, I think, maybe not 13-1 good, but maybe along the lines of a 10-4 good, maybe along the lines there. That's where they would be. They would still be pretty damn good, even if they had a good quarterback. Not if they had a great quarterback. They're Super Bowl contenders, I think, with a great quarterback. With a average quarterback to good quarterback, I still think they are a playoff team. And the Cowboys are at the level right now, I don't think of being a Super Bowl contender, but I think the Cowboys right now are obviously at the level of playoff team. It's going to come down to defense. It's going to come down to turnovers. The Eagles can't turn the football over. The Eagles are going to have to play a near-perfect game to win this game, but I still have faith now that the Eagles are going to win this game. And when I talk about the stacked team that the Philadelphia Eagles are, here's what I really break it down to. The Cowboys obviously have had some struggles as of late. Now, some people might chalk that up like coming off a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars where they absolutely imploded. Some people might look at that and go, oh, they're going to be extra added motivation to play this Eagles team. They're going to play extra added motivation after the way they lost. And that could very well be true. I know I'd be saying it about the Eagles. Oh, they're going to come out with an edge because the way they lost last week, they're going to take it out of the Eagles or they're going to take it out of the Cowboys, whatever. I know I'd be saying that same thing. But really, in watching this team play and watching how this team has played over the last handful of years and their next man up mentality and how much they embrace and rally around the new guy, whether that be Nick Foles, the Colts starting quarterback this week, whether that be any member of the defensive line or offensive line going down, they always rally around that guy and everybody else raises their game. No team should know that more so than the Dallas Cowboys, who went 4-1 with their backup quarterback as their starting quarterback in the beginning of the season when you had Dak Prescott sitting on the sidelines with a thumb injury. Everybody rallies around the backup quarterback. And the Eagles, much like the Dallas Cowboys, have a great defense. The Eagles have been showing off that great defense a little bit more as of late, where the Cowboys, not so much. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say that Gardner Minshew, here's a piping hot take for you. Gardner Minshew is better than Cooper Rush. That's one thing I know going into this game. Gardner Minshew is better. So there's going to be more room for error for the defense. Not that I think they're going to have a lot of error, but there's going to be more wiggle room for the defense. So if you're comparing the backup quarterback days of the Dallas Cowboys in the early goings of the season to the backup quarterback day, possibly days, because Nick Sirianni did say yesterday that you might see Gardner Minshew again next week. He wasn't going to give any more information as to whether or not Jalen Hurts was going to be out 2 weeks or not. He was actually laughing at the idea of giving away more information than just Jalen Hurts. It doesn't look like he's going to be the guy come Saturday. So when I think about that, I think about the fact that if you're a Cowboys fan and you're relying on the backup quarterback argument, you guys beat us because we had the backup quarterback going. Okay. If you want to invoke that and say we're not going to beat you because we have our backup quarterback going, you might have another thing coming. Eagles defense has been much hotter as of late. Eagles defense has been much better than the Dallas Cowboys as of late. I mentioned the 17 Pro Bowls or Pro Bowl alternates that they have on this roster. If you're a quarterback in this Philadelphia Eagles system, I know everyone wants to avoid that buzzword because Micah Parsons used it, but let's call it what it is. I said at the time that Micah Parsons made those comments a week ago, that the Eagles are a great team. They are a great system. But the on switch to that system is Jalen Hurts. He's the guy that makes everything else go. I think this is going to be obviously impacting the running game, not just because you're not going to have your quarterback racking up yards in the run game, but you're also not going to have your quarterback making everybody else aware that he could run and maybe not open up those lanes that he likes to open up for a guy like Miles Sanders, or can open up for a guy like Miles Sanders. Maybe even Kenny Gainwell or Boston Scott. But your run game is not going to be nearly the same in this game. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to be saying to yourself, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to make sure that it's Gardner Minshew is going to be the guy that has to beat us. That's going to be a difficult task because Gardner Minshew has a little bit of an easier time here when it comes to who he's throwing to. And one of the reporters yesterday, I believe it was Zach Berman, asked Gardner Minshew about throwing to A.J. Brown. And I'll let you hear from him, but he basically said A.J. Brown's pretty good. So if you're a quarterback and you're just settling into this offense, you have some nice security blankets around you. And it's not just Pro Bowl wide receiver A.J. Brown. It's A.J. Brown. It's Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins, pretty damn good number 3 target. Dallas Goedert, who, by the way, Gardner Minshew threw not 1 but 2 touchdowns to in his first start as a Philadelphia Eagle last year against the Jets, albeit, but it was still 2 touchdowns at Dallas Goedert. That's a nice guy to get on the same page with almost right out of the gate. So that's nice. Also, last week, while they were trying to get ready to get Gardner Minshew in the mix of things, also last week when Dallas Goedert was trying to get back into the swing of things, you know who he was catching passes from? He was catching passes from Gardner Minshew. Those two already were pretty much on the same page right out of the gate when Minshew made that start against the Jets, and he gets that target back in this game. Oh, and by the way, with all those weapons, did I even mention Miles Sanders in the backfield? So, yeah, that's pretty good running back as well. You put those weapons behind this offensive line, and I don't care if you're Micah Parsons. I don't care if you're Dorrance Armstrong. I don't care. That's a pretty stacked offense that you have to bring it against as a defense. And this defense did not do such a great job the first time around. Yes, it was with Jalen Hurts, but they didn't do such a great job, 26 points, that you saw them put up on the Dallas Cowboy defense the last time these teams meet. Last time these two teams met. On top of all that, when I'm putting all that together, and just how this offense, I haven't even gotten to the defense yet, but just in putting in the offense, I think about this. The line is already moved. It's down from 6 to 4.5. Still, the Cowboys are the favorite. But I'm not the only one getting more convinced that the Eagles are going to put up more of a fight than some people were originally anticipating without Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback. So the fact that you look at what the books are saying, the books are saying maybe the Eagles have a little bit more of a chance. All Gardner Minshew has to do, easier said than done, especially against this defense. But people would always want to talk about Trayvon Diggs and what the season he had last year. And he had an incredible season last year. He's got 4 picks this year. That's down wildly from his numbers last year. So the ball hawking hasn't exactly been there for him this year like it was last year. Now, maybe you could force a guy like Gardner Minshew into mistakes. I know if I'm Dan Quinn, I'm going to be looking at Gardner Minshew and I'm going to be foaming at the mouth. I'm going to be licking my chops, man. I'm going to be going after him. I'm going to be forcing him into mistakes as much as I possibly can. And I can already be a very aggressive defensive coordinator. Oh, now there's blood in the water. Now there's blood in the water when it comes to Gardner Minshew. He's going to be sending the hounds, man. I know he's going to be sending the hounds. But as I approach this game, as we get closer to this game, which is tomorrow on this fine football Friday, Christmas Eve, tomorrow, as I get closer to it, I just have a feeling that this Eagles defense knows the challenge that's in front of them. And yes, I think all those members on the offense that I thought are great depth and great talent throughout the roster. True, that's the most important thing, and I think that's going to be a big thing. But when it comes to this defense, that's who I think is going to be the star of the show. Much like Micah Parsons returning a touchdown against the Rams, I believe it was, when Cooper Rush was in as their starting quarterback. Much like that, I think this defense is going to rise to the occasion. And if you're talking about a Philadelphia Eagles defense, one of the most important things to remember, and this is probably the even more so than the line dropping from 6 to 4.5. This Eagles defense takes the ball away more than anybody in the NFL. Cowboys aren't far off from that mark either. I want to acknowledge that. But this Eagles defense takes the ball away more than anybody. You know who turns the football over more than anybody over the last 7 weeks of the season? Your boy Dak Prescott. That's who. Since Dak Prescott has come back in week 7, nobody has thrown more interceptions in the NFL, 11, than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's still going to be facing a very healthy pass rush, the best pass rush in the NFL. And yes, the Cowboys are right there as well. But he's going to be facing a very healthy pass rush. He's going to be throwing into a healthy secondary of a Pro Bowler in Darius Slay and also James Bradbury, the two best corners in the NFL. That's who you're going to be throwing into with this pass rush in your face. If there's going to be a number one reason why the Eagles win this game, it's going to be because they didn't turn the ball over and give the Cowboys more opportunities. That's for damn sure. And the other is the fact that this defense is going to get home. They're not going up against a Dallas Cowboy offensive line of years past that you always had to have massive respect for. They're going up against an offensive line that is nowhere near the talent level that we're used to seeing come out of Dallas. Nowhere near the talent level that we're used to seeing protect Dak Prescott or open up running lanes for, how about this, Pro Bowler Tony Pollard? How about that? And Ezekiel Elliott. You have guys that can get home on this defense. It's going to be a huge challenge for Jonathan Gannon, but I think he's going to have the most motivated team he has had yet. Because here's what the Eagles can do. Not only can they enjoy a victory over the Dallas Cowboys, which is, I mean, let's just face it, that's gold. But, you know, it's platinum. Beating the Dallas Cowboys to lock up home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and that's what's on the line for the Eagles. Yes, if they get down early in this game, which is obviously going to be a huge thing, they can't get down early in this game. They're going to have to control this game from the start and make the Cowboys play catch-up. But if they get down early in this game, sure, it's easy to look ahead and go, all right, well, we got the Saints. We'll probably have our MVP quarterback back, so we'll be fine, and let's do it. We'll be good. All right, we know we're not going to beat the Saints. All right, we'll beat the Giants, and we'll still be at home, so that will be good. It's easy to default to that, but don't you just want to lock it up? Don't you want to know your destiny? Don't you want to seal your destiny as soon as possible? So that if you do need to rest guys a little bit later in the season, if Jalen Hurts does need more rest, you can do that. I would certainly want to do that. If there's something difficult standing in front of me, I want to get it done as soon as possible. And, you know, to the best of my ability as well. Quality, not just quantity, as my father says. But when I look at this game, I don't look at it as the Eagles are shifting to, well, we can still beat the Saints. I look at it as we're protecting our quarterback as much as we can by not having Jalen Hurts playing this game with a shoulder sprain, and we're going to rely on our defense and Gardner Minshew to manage a good game. That's all he has to do in this game. But when you are a game manager, you can still look pretty damn good when you're throwing to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert behind this offensive line with Miles Sanders running the football for you. You can look pretty damn good with those guys out there. The biggest difference is how you are going to manage this game as a play caller and game planner, Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen, how you're going to manage this game without the elite athletic ability and the elite quarterbacking of Jalen Hurts. How are you going to call this game to put Gardner Minshew and his receivers, his weapons, his running back, and this offensive line in the best possible position to help this defense that I think is going to bring their A++ game against Dallas? Because everyone's looking at this game. Everyone's looking at this game. And even though I mentioned the line going down and it's 4.5, guess what you are? Guess what you are? Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. Guess what you are? You're underdogs. Is there anybody that enjoys being an underdog, that revels, that gets motivation from being an underdog more so than this team? And I know when I say that, I even roll my eyes because I get, there's got to be like a statute of limitations on how many times you could use underdog, right? Nope. Jason Kelsey literally made a clothing apparel brand with underdog. Nick Sirianni literally earlier in this week was wearing the underdog cap, courtesy of Jason Kelsey. Eagles are in their natural habitat right here of going from eagles flying high in the sky to underdogs. There's no one in the NFL more comfortable with it. A lot of these guys, mention them right there. Fletcher Cox is another one that I feel more comfortable than ever with that underdog mantra. And here they are, 4.5-point underdogs to the Dallas Cowboys, despite being 13-1. Right there, the number one seed is there for the taking. Hey, the Eagles in 2017 hit a bit of a wall with Nick Foles as their starting quarterback at the end of that season. People were talking about Nate Sudfeld playing in the playoffs. What are you doing, Nate Sudfeld? Nate Sudfeld. Obviously, it didn't happen. We all know what happened. And it's all history, and we had a nice little parade here in Philadelphia. But nobody embraces being the underdog more, and nobody likes rising to the occasion more, and nobody likes invoking the idea of next man up more than this Eagles locker room. Doug Peterson here or not, Nick Sirianni being here now or not, as long as you have the leaders in that locker room, that is the mentality they are going to embrace. Eagles are underdogs? Phases me none going into this game. I'm very much looking forward to this Eagles game now, because I think we are going to enjoy the perfect storm of facing the Dallas Cowboys early in the season as a fan base, facing their backup quarterback, beating their backup quarterback, and then with 3 weeks left in the season, facing them in their home stadium, facing them on the road with your backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew, and then beating them to lock up the number one seed. That, to me, is the perfect storm, and that's what I think we're going to be enjoying probably around 7:30 Saturday night, Christmas Eve. I'll be cutting open my stuffed calamari, my pan-seared crab stuffed calamari, looking up at the score, and enjoying an Eagles victory. That's how I think it plays out on Saturday night. Before we get to our locker room report, let me tell you right now about our friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven Singer's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love and finding the perfect gift. And now you find that perfect gift at the perfect price. Because you know what? A lot of other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark them down a couple of bucks, make it feel like you won something. You know, oh, you're a really good negotiator, really good haggler. No. Steven Singer, he alleviates that pressure. And you know what he says? He says, when you come in here, you get the perfect price. The person next to you is paying exactly what you're paying. There's no huge discounts because you haggle. There's no sales. There's no coupons. There's nothing like that. There's no promo code. He takes care of everyone that walks in the store. So you never hear, oh, you missed it. The sale was yesterday, but you seem like a nice guy. I'm not going to come. No, price is already knocked down. That's the perfect thing at Steven Singer Jewelers. That's the perfect price. One place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, I want to get you guys, Nick Sirianni. Here's what he had to say yesterday about Jalen Hurts. And I went back and I looked over some old clips. I couldn't call him on it, but I'm pretty sure he said the same thing about Jason Kelsey. But I'm not sure. So let's just enjoy it for what he had to say about Nick Sirianni had to say about Jalen Hurts. Here's Sirianni.
It's looking like it's going to be Gardner. Jalen did everything he possibly could to get his body ready to go, and it just at the end of the day, he's not gonna be able to do it. And he tried like crazy, and I know he still wants to go. That's just the toughness that Jalen Hurts is the toughest player I've ever been around.
Nobody tougher than Jalen Hurts. I'm pretty sure he said Jason Kelce was the toughest guy. But it's okay. Let's take it for what it is. He went on to say he was talking to his brother, and his brother's a coach. And he said that his brother learned about the injury from Jalen Hurts. And I'm like, I think his brother has more information on Jalen than we do. But his brother's reaction was, wow, he played through that? He played a full quarter like that, a quarter plus like that? Man, how did he do that? And Nick Sirianni's reaction to his brother was, well, he's the toughest guy I know. He's the toughest player I've ever been around. All right. What I hope that means is because it seems like Nick Sirianni's brother knows more about Jalen Hurts' injury than most of us. It seems like his brother is rather impressed that he was able to play through what he played through in that game. So it got me thinking, is this worse than we think? Because like up until a couple days ago, I was like, it's not that bad. It's a boo-boo. When we talked to Barrett Brooks about it earlier in the week, he went boo-boo. It's a boo-boo. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's a boo-boo. And then I watched the throw he made to A.J. Brown, and I went, that's probably a boo-boo. But your adrenaline's running in a game. You know, you're not really feeling the injury as bad until after the game. Jalen Hurts said after the game. I mean, he knew during the game something was wrong, but he said after the game he knew that it was something a little bit more serious than just like, let me rotate my shoulder a little bit. Okay, I'm good. Let's go back out there. Rub some Ben Gay on it, and you're good to go. Now, it was a little bit worse than that. So the reaction is from his brother, it's got me thinking more along the lines of, is he going to miss next week too? I'll tell you this. If Jalen Hurts, let's live in the hypothetical for a second here, because this is the windy road I went down yesterday. Based on what Nick Sirianni was talking about with his brother's reaction to Jalen Hurts, my thought was, okay, hold on a second. Why is he reacting like that? Is this worse? He's that impressed that he played with it? So is this really a 2-week injury, like a solid 2-week injury, not just he might be out 1 week. Okay, he's out 1 week. Or is this more serious? So are the Eagles actually in the mindset of potentially beating the Dallas Cowboys, all right, which means then you most likely won't start Jalen Hurts against the Saints. And I understand there's more to play for in that game, because you're also not just locking up the number 1 seed, having that in your back pocket like you could against the Cowboys this week, but you're also playing to decrease the Saints draft value. So in other words, increase it for you because you have their first round pick. So if you beat them, it's another loss, might bump them down a couple of pegs, and you all of a sudden get a higher draft pick. So, yes, there's something to play for as far as that goes. But, yes, I also think Gardner Minshew can beat the Saints. And then the last week of the season against the Giants could be playing for their playoff lives in that game. So, with that being said, would you even play Jalen Hurts in that? So, the scenario that is playing out here is Jalen Hurts, it's very possible, doesn't play in the last 3 weeks of the season, which means if the Eagles lock up the number 1 seed, which is how the scenario plays out, Jalen Hurts doesn't play this week. Jalen Hurts doesn't play the last 3 weeks of the season in total. Jalen Hurts gets a bye week. All of a sudden, you're looking at a month between starts for Jalen Hurts. A month between starts. I know he's going to be coming back home, but it's going to be cold. It's not, hey, I don't care if it ain't Chicago, like they were saying after the Bears game when it was 16 degrees at kickoff. It's still going to be cold. And Jalen Hurts is going to be coming back from a shoulder injury after a month off, essentially, in cold weather. So in this hypothetical, that is possible. Jalen Hurts could go a month without starting. Now, let me just say this. Let's get there first. All right, let me acknowledge that, but let's get there first. But it is in the back of my mind because once I went to, oh my God, the Eagles are going to win this game. The Eagles are totally going to win this game against the Cowboys. This is great. Then I jumped to, oh my God, what does it mean? Not just home field advantage. It also means that Jalen Hurts could go a month without playing. So let's get there first. But one of the questions that has rattled around in my big dumb brain is this. Would you really let him go a whole month without playing football? Would you let that happen? Or would you put him in maybe against the Saints if he's healthy enough to return then? Would you put him in against the Giants if he's healthy enough to return then? Would you have him play a quarter? Would you treat it like a preseason game? Just get out there, get the kinks out, make sure this isn't a month between you being on a football field? Yes, let's get there first. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I can't help it. How would you handle that situation? That's Nick Sirianni on Jalen Hurts, by the way. There he goes. Gardner Minshew is going to be your starting quarterback on Saturday, tomorrow, against the Dallas Cowboys. I've already said I think the Eagles win this game. I'll give you my official score coming up in a little bit. But here is an interesting thing, and we don't really think about this a lot. And a couple of takeaways. I want to play one thing from what I took away from Gardner Minshew's media session yesterday. One is the guy is a bookworm. When he was away for his Coach Leach's funeral, and he was given his speech and all that, which I saw a little bit of it. Beautiful, and you can tell how much the man meant to him. It's really nice. But when he was talking about being away, one of the things he talked about, and Nick Sirianni talked about, how they were on Zoom on Monday and Tuesday this week, so they could be on the same page with everything, how he is really dedicated himself to the playbook, and how he has really taken away a lot from his conversations with Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen about what they want to do. He was out there on the football field yesterday running with the ones, so that was great. All that's great stuff. He's putting in the work. He had to be away for something, and I have all the respect in the world for that. Gets onto the football field. He's running the plays. He's running the offense. And yesterday he was asked about throwing to A.J. Brown and what A.J. Brown does for him and what A.J. Brown does for any quarterback that's throwing to him.
In camp, you didn't get much time with A.J. The past few days, what's it been like throwing to him, and what's your biggest takeaway playing with him?
Yeah, he's really good, so like it's nice, he gets open, catches the ball, so when you got those two things going for you, like quarterback friendly, so excited to get out there and work with him and all those guys, man. They all do different things really well, so it's gonna be a fun group to play with.
As I said yesterday with RJ Ochoa, it's a funny thing because we spent a week leading up to the Bears game going, Michael Parsons is an idiot. It's not the system. It's Jalen Hurts. And I said, and I still believe he's the on switch. Yeah, he's the on switch to the highest level of football that this team can play. Zero doubt in that. That doesn't mean that he is the only on switch. Like, it always has to start with the quarterback. But I've said this a lot about rules in the NFL. And the way the game has changed, especially to protect the quarterback. It is not easy to play quarterback in the NFL. True statement. Without any experience, I can tell you that. All right. However, you and I have been watching this game for a while. It's never been easier to play quarterback in the NFL thanks to the rule changes. All right. It's not easy, but it's never been easier. It's not easy to be a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. But when you think about the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, it may have never been an easier time to play. Maybe throwing a TO. Maybe that's pretty easy. Throw it to that guy. The guy's downfield. No one's going to throw to him. All right, that's pretty easy. It sounds easy at least. But it's never been easier right now, I don't think, at any point in time for the Philadelphia Eagles to be a Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. You have never had the likes of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders, all together behind this offensive line. You've never had that grouping of talent. Insert quarterback B after quarterback A, even though quarterback A is an MVP, in my opinion. You could put quarterback B in there, and he's still going to be pretty good. He's surrounded by a lot of talent. Gardner Minshew, you didn't have this in Jacksonville. You didn't even have this last year with the Eagles. You just got to go in there, man, and you got to chill. And you got to realize that all you got to do is play point guard. That's all he's got to do. They were asking about film yesterday. Or what were they asking about? Putting good film down there for maybe next year. Any other team could sign him up or anything like that. And you always want to put good film out there, and certainly he wants to do that. He doesn't have to have a great game. His numbers don't have to be off the charts. Just when I look next to that interception stat, I want to see a big old goose egg under INT. He doesn't have to have a 4-touchdown game. He doesn't have to have 350 yards passing. If this turns into a shootout, I will be shocked. I will be flat out shocked. But man, if you're trying to take away weapons for Gardner Minshew, he can deliver the ball accurately. He can get rid of the ball quick. He can buy some time in the pocket. He's not a statue. He's not Jalen Hurts by any means. He doesn't have to be Jalen Hurts. He just has to play point guard. Stranger things have happened in Philadelphia. You can win a game with Gardner Minshew as your quarterback. I know a lot of people harken back to Jeff Garcia and the very sheepish Philadelphia. Merry Christmas. All right. Down in Dallas, where he won a lot of people over. You can do it. This team can win. This team is deep enough to win. Their defense is great. They're good enough to match up against this Cowboy offense, especially when you have Dak Prescott turning the football over at the rate that he's turning the football over right now. That's no bueno for the Dallas Cowboys. That's a big feather in the cap for the Philadelphia Eagles. Something else that Gardner Minshew mentioned, by the way, in that media session was he always wears his pads. Even in padless practice, he always wears his pads. He says he never wants to get not used to throwing without shoulder pads. If you've never played football, like if you've never played organized football, I recommend if you ever get a chance to put on pads, okay? If maybe your son is playing, your daughter's playing, I don't know, anybody's playing, and you have an opportunity to put on pads, try to catch and throw a football. Especially one over your head. Catch a ball over your head. And my biggest takeaways the first time I put on pads and actually played football was, what the hell? Range of motion, not there. It's a different thing. And he practices all the time with pads. He said he never wanted to get used to throwing without pads. I just thought that was a funny takeaway, something I didn't know about Gardner Minshew. And the other thing is, I mentioned you got to be chill. I think this is the chillest dude in the locker room. He was literally referring to his wide receivers. Man, them dudes. He's got a very, very big, I've mentioned this before, a very, very big bro personality. He is an absolute bro. And I think all he's got to do is sit back and play point guard, and this team can win. And this team will win. One more thing I want to get to from Gardner Minshew. He was asked this is always fun. Guys are loose. You think this team's tight? Not the case. Check this out.
Back there.
This question's Joe Malata, Australian Sports. Joe Malata.
Okay.
You might know him.
Speak up.
Bring the stash back is what all the fans are saying on
Bring
Twitter.
the stash back?
Yeah.
I think you got it for me, don't you?
Yes, I do, baby.
Yeah. I mean, if you got it, it looks pretty good on you. So, yeah, all right. We'll see what we can do, bro. I don't know. They look like just anybody.
Yep, they're loose. They're having themselves a good time. And how about, by the way, the offensive linemen, their music video, their Christmas songs, their Christmas album there with Jason Kelsey and everybody. They got play on ESPN yesterday. National play for the Eagles and their Christmas album. How great is that? So yeah, this team is definitely loose and ready to go for tomorrow against the Cowboys. Let me tell you right now about Manscaped, the great people at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com for more information. Manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy at manscaped.com. Promo code Farzy gets you 20% off and free shipping for all your Manscaped items. And it includes their Platinum Package 4.0, which has the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and they all come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So make sure you enjoy all that Manscaped has to offer and be a well-kept man this holiday season with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Freestone Farm CBD. It's phenomenal. Anyone looking to take a more natural approach to everything that they're putting in the bodies, you want to relax after a workout, you want to relax at the end of a long day, help lull you to sleep, Freestone Farm CBD is the way to go. You'll enjoy their insane tropical tasting Bayax that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts, and they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. So there's nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to let you know it's CBD done right. Go to FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com and enjoy. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check, see how y'all's people are doing today. T-Bro, Merry Philly Dallas Eve to all. T-Bro, absolutely. Hulk Mercenary. What's up, Hulk Mercenary? I honestly think our defense is going to ball out. I'm with you. Here, I meant to get these numbers in earlier. I talked about them being close. Okay. Points per game. Eagles average just barely a point more than the Dallas Cowboys. Points allowed per game. Eagles allow 19.1. Cowboys 19.2. Tenth of a point. Yards passing, total yards, Eagles blow them out of the water, 409 yards per game. Again, no, that's with Jalen Hurts. To 370 yards passing, 250 to 225 in favor of the Eagles. Yards rushing, 158 to 145. Again, now we're without Jalen Hurts. Yards allowed, Eagles 321 to the Cowboys 348. Passing yards allowed, Eagles 200 to the Cowboys 215. Yards rushing allowed, Eagles 121 to the Cowboys 133. I think the Eagles defense is going to eat Hulk Mercenary. I think they are going to tee off. I have the numbers for you. Let me see if I can find. I'm playing without a phone case. Had to take my phone case off. And I still don't have it on there. So it's I believe the term is raw dog. Anyway, so where the hell is it at? Here we go. Dak Prescott, 10 interceptions since week 7, his return. Most in the NFL. Interception percentage, 4%. Worst in the NFL. Multi-interception games, 4. Most in the NFL. That's since he came back from the little thumb injury he had there. Oh, man. Drop a pen. So, yeah, that's the way I see it going there. T-Bro, Minshew going for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. T-Bro, I don't think you're far off, brother. I don't think you're far off. The 3 touchdowns makes me feel like I'm feeling myself a little bit, makes me feel a little too cocky, a little too arrogant. The 3 touchdowns. The 280, I think, is a good number. But I think they are going to rely, especially if they get in goal line situations, I think they are going to do that thing that we've been asking them to do, the thing where they hand the ball to Miles Sanders. That's what I see happening. Kevin, what's going on, Kevin? Nice to see you. Good morning, Farzy and everybody. Good morning, Kevin. Hulk Mercenary wants to know, if the Giants manage to win against the Vikings, does that affect us in any way? It could, because the Giants play at Giants and whatever the hell their names are, the Vikings. They play at 1 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. They play at 1 o'clock. Eagles have the 4:25 game. So if the Giants beat the Vikings, that's actually a better thing for the Cowboys, because the Giants then improve to 9-5-1. Minnesota drops to 11-4. And with that little extra added motivation, the Dallas Cowboys would then draw even with the Minnesota Vikings at 11-4. And it would also give the Giants more reason to be fighting for their playoff lives in Week 18. Now, in Week 18, when they wrap up the season, I still don't think that game's going to matter. That game's not going to matter. But it could matter still to the Giants. And I want the Giants. I mean, look, I think the Giants are going to lock up a playoff win. I think if they win 2 more games, depending on what happens else around the league. But yes, to answer your question, the Giants-Vikings game can affect the Eagles-Cowboys game, because if the Vikings lose, the Cowboys have a better shot still of being the number 1 seed. We talked about it with RJ Ochoa yesterday. Basically, Eagles have to lose out, Minnesota has to lose out, Cowboys have to win out, and they would get the number 1 seed in the NFC. So yes, it does have an effect on the Eagles-Cowboys game tomorrow. In the essence that you could have a more motivated Cowboys team. Morning, fam. Morning, April. PJ wants to know if Gardner Minshew is contractually obligated to bring the stash back. I don't know. The beard. I swear, and not to sound cold, because he was doing a serious thing, doing a beautiful thing. He was eulogizing his old coach in Coach Leach. But when I was flipping through on Twitter and I saw Gardner Minshew at the podium speaking, I was just flipping through, not paying attention to where the tweet was from. And I was like, oh, Keanu Reeves is talking. And I just kept flipping. And I was like, man, why is Keanu Reeves still coming up in my timeline? Whatever. Okay, whatever. And I kept flipping. And then later, I think I was watching ESPN, and they were showing Gardner Minshew talk. And I went, oh, they're showing the Keanu Reeves clip. That's how stupid I am. And so I'm like, oh, Keanu Reeves is still. Why is Keanu? Oh, I am an idiot. Anyway. Mullet Alvarado, what's going on? Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Definitely hoping for an interception happy Dak Prescott. April, as am I. Professor Dutch, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the content, Farzy. Oh, very nice. Merry Christmas, Birds fans. And always remember, Dallas sucks. Absolutely. Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays to my Jewish brethren. Happy Hanukkah. Everyone, happy Kwanzaa. To everything everyone celebrates, happy that. I hope you guys and everyone has a wonderful holiday season. I will say, check all your weather. Wherever you live, check the weather, especially if it's in the Northeast corridor of the United States, because the weather sucks right now. So make sure you check the weather. Saw a lot of canceled flights already. Check the weather. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what the weather is. The weather always changes, but I'm just saying, check it. And I'm not a big weather guy. I hardly ever check the weather. I went to Catholic school with the same thing every day. Weather didn't affect me. Anyway. So yeah, check the weather. Thanks everybody in the chat. April, hello and Merry Christmas to you. Hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. April says there's a high here tomorrow of 32. I hate winter. Let's get in the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. First and foremost, Sixers back on the hardwood tonight, looking for their 7th win in a row. They'll take on the LA Clippers tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off. One thing I didn't get to was the comments made by Joel Embiid on ESPN. I didn't get to this because I was talking a lot of Eagles this week. But in case you haven't seen it, Joel Embiid, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, his comments were, Philly fans want to trade me. And I thought he's just being a troll. He doesn't mean this. He hasn't gotten attention in a minute. So he's just messing with us a little bit. Okay? That was one thing. We haven't really paid a lot of attention to the Sixers this year when you think about it. And when they were starting the season, the Phillies were in the World Series. And now the Eagles are a 13-1 football team. They're looking to wrap up the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're looking to make it to a Super Bowl. They're looking to have an MVP quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Come on. So it didn't get a lot of attention, but we did talk about it on this show last week when he said that he wanted to be traded. Sometimes, this is what he said to ESPN. I'm getting this by way of John Clark's Instagram here, okay? Sometimes you need motivation. Whatever helps you play better or makes you better. I've seen a lot in the past. They can be tough. I've been here for a long time. That's why it doesn't get to me. Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. When I addressed Joel Embiid's comments of Philly fans want to trade me, that he said to Jeff Fisher of Yahoo Sports last week, when I talked about those comments, I talked about him as if he was a troll. But when I was talking about them in a serious manner, just in case he meant them, I just want to say this one more time. Nobody wants to trade Joel Embiid. Nobody wants to trade Joel Embiid. At least not right now. Maybe if it was a first-round exit, we could start having a conversation. Because you're going to have to trade him with some years of his prime left to get something in return. But nobody right now is talking about trading Joel Embiid. This is, I think, Joel Embiid pulling a Michael Jordan, and not in like the six championship Michael Jordan. This is Joel Embiid pulling I need to find motivation somewhere, and that's fine. Sixers have won 6 straight. They're going to go for their 7th straight tonight against the Clippers. That's all I care about. Just keep winning games. Get Tyrese Maxey back. Still not close to returning. Was doing a little bit more according to Doc Rivers, but still, it's a shot in the dark as to when he's going to be coming back to this team. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that it's in the not too distant future. But like I said, Sixers are back at it tonight against the Clippers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Oh, come on. 3. Yes, going for 7th in a row. Just wanted to make sure. Flyers did lose last night, so much for winning 2 in a row for the first time since November 5th and 7th, I think. They got the Hurricanes tonight. They are going from Toronto down to Carolina to take on the Hurricanes at 7 o'clock tonight. You had Carter Hart in net last night. Flyers, to give them credit, they fought in the third period. I don't know what's going to happen with Kevin Hayes and John Tortorella. I figure a steel cage match at some point. John Tortorella was trying to blame the media for any discontent between Hayes and him. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's Tortorella benching Hayes. That's probably more of a reason why. But, let's blame the media because it's more convenient. But, yeah, the Flyers did lose last night 4-3 to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto. And Carter Hart was in net, made 30 saves in the loss. Eagles, Cowboys, 4:25 kickoff tomorrow, Christmas Eve. I'll be on the Jacob Media pregame show from Mom and Dad's house, from Joey and Eleanor's house. All right. I'll be there doing the pregame show for the hour with Seth Joyner and Derek Gunn. Halftime, I'll be doing the hit with Devin Caney, and I'll be doing the hit from my kitchen, my parents' kitchen, as I'm making a calamari. Okay, so you guys can see my dad, Joe Farzetta, hard at work in the kitchen, and maybe some of my family running around as well. Thanks for watching. Eagles, Cowboys. The Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve and lock up home field advantage and a bye week, the number 1 seed in the playoffs. The Eagles will beat the Cowboys by a score of 23-20. Tight game. Eagles come out on top. Gardner Minshew, I'm going to go with 2 touchdowns. 1 to A.J. Brown. 1 to Quez Watkins. Eagles defense forces 3 turnovers, and they win the game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. 23-20. Eagles win. Guys, I really do hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. For those celebrating Christmas, like myself, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. And if you're celebrating 7 Fish tomorrow with the family, I hope you guys have a wonderful 7 Fish. I hope the calamari isn't overcooked. I hope the linguine is al dente. And I hope the clams are just perfect. The smelts, well fried and delicious. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a great Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. On behalf of everyone here at the Farzy Show, from our whole staff, Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays. Jim Hyden, thanks for producing. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. Go Bird. Oh, hey, if you like me, more of me locally, Fox 29, for the Footballed segment with me and Eitan Shander. A couple of bald bastards talking sports. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Merry Christmas. See ya.